the snow has been compressed. 2 days ago, there was a heavy snowstorm in Xintai. And in the daytime of the 14th December, the whole city witnessed strong heavy snowstorm. From 8 a.m. of the 14th till 8 p.m. of the same day, the average snowfall was 11.6 centimeters, and the depth was over 8 centimeters. Here by my side, we could see such a non-automotive lane, and we could have a look at the depths of the snow. It's pretty flat. The snow has never been stepped. I put my hand in the snow and I try to touch the ground. And as you can see, the depth of the snow is about the width of my 4 fingers. So it's pretty deep. After 2 days of the cold snap, the snow is pretty tight. The snowflakes stick together. This is one of the snowstone. If I throw it onto the ground, it does not break, and it's pretty heavy for me to grab it. I have to use a lot of strength in order to break the snow. The City Management Bureau of Xintai City urged the local heating companies to readjust the heating parameters. The water temperature out of the factory is suggested to be elevated. Now we will visit one of the heating companies here. This is the heating plant, and I will show you the heating situation. This plant utilizes the residual heat of the industry for heating. Before the show, we came to know that there are 4 heat sources in Xintai City, and this one plant is one of the 4. The heating method is as such, and we will listen to Chen Qiuhua. Mr. Chen, could you please introduce the heating companies? There are 4 heating sources. We have 2 heating plants and 2 burn the coke. And also we use the heat pumps to produce the heat in this plant. We once interviewed the commissioning center of the plant. What is the heat supply right now? According to our monitoring, the average temperature is 22.5 Celsius degrees. We try to keep it between 20 to 24 Celsius degrees. What measures have been taken in the cold weather? According to the meteorological station, there have been cold snaps over the days. What measures will you take? Considering the cold snap, this cold snap is never seen in 50 years, and we didn't predict it beforehand. According to the contingency plan, we have detailized the measures. We have elevated the parameters and the temperature of the water, and we use some traditional methods to install some curtains in the neighborhoods, and we ordered the plastic cloth. We hope to ensure the heating needs of the general public. In addition to increase the water temperature, do you have some other measures? For example, any rescue teams in place? We have 140 rescue teams right now. They work on the post 24/7 in order to respond any emergency. It's all in the plan. So the two plants are utilizing the industrial residue heat? Yes. The water temperature is low temperature below 60 Celsius degrees, and then the water goes through the heat pump. And now the main heat is about 82 Celsius degrees. Now let's visit the commissioning center. There will be some real-time data about the water temperature and the temperature when the water goes out of the exchange station. It's different from the power station. Power station usually has a higher temperature, but for the heating station, we usually resort to the maximum flow of the water. But we cannot raise the water temperature to that high. Now we are in the center. Let's see the operational status right now in the control center. This is the big screen of the control center. Here is the operational status right now. I can see the fans working now. Those are actually the heat pumps. There are several heat pumps working. Could any staff member introduce the details to us? High temperature residue heat was introduced from the coke plant, and then we have a pipeline to elevate the temperature, and the fans represent the heat pumps, the recycling pumps, to offer the power and to ensure stable flow. This is the inlet, and that inlet means the introduction of the residue heat from the water of the coke plants. Yes. It's a high temperature water at about 65 Celsius degrees, but when the water comes out, the temperature is elevated to 66.8 Celsius degrees. It's like the cooling water in the coke plant. And when it comes at this segment, the water is warmer, and then through the exchangers over here, the water temperature at about 45 Celsius degrees will be elevated to about 61.5 Celsius degrees. And then we supply the water to the utilities. We have two levels of heating processes. This is the process number 1, the level 1 process. So the temperature at the inlet is about 66.7%. That temperature suffices. We can directly supply it. Why do we have to go through the heat pumps to elevate it again? That's because we have two independent systems. The two systems should not interfere with each other in order to guarantee stability of the operation. That's why we separate the two systems with our exchangers. If any problem occurs in one specific system, the other independent system will still work. When the water flows to the downtown area, it recycles and then it comes back to the plant for another round of heating. Is that so? Yes. The high temperature 65 degree of water goes to the second level of heating. After level 2 heating, the temperature could be up to 74.5 Celsius degrees. So by that it means when the water was supplied to the city, it's 70 degrees. Yes. And now during the cold snap days, there will be level 3 heating. And after level 3 heating process, the temperature of the water supplied in the city will be 82 Celsius degrees. And what will be the water temperature in the households? The average temperature now is 23 Celsius degrees and above. Do you have only one heat source from one plant? We're using the residual heat from 3 plants right now. Could you please show us to the factory? We are now in the control center. We would love to visit the factory for more real-time information. I would love to see how does it operate and how is the residual heat of the industry plants recycled. We are now in a heating plant by utilizing the industrial surplus heat. We will visit the plant to see how the residual heat from 3 coking plants were transformed to the heat sources. It's pretty noisy here in the plant. Let's keep moving inside. Over there, that's the level 1 pipeline. The temperature is about 45 Celsius degrees. We send them out at a temperature of 85 Celsius degree, and when the water is returned to the pipeline, the water temperature is 45. Those are the 3 heat pumps. The arrow must mean the direction of the water flow. Yes, that's the water flow direction. And then the water is sent to the pumps for compression. And then it will be sent to the exchanger. In this machine, the water pressure will be raised. And this is the displacement plate. It's quiet over here. What about the pipeline for the water flowing from the coking plant? The water with a temperature of 65 Celsius degrees? I saw it in the big screen. Here, this is another pump to raise the pressure, and it can heat up the 45 degree of water, and then the water temperature will be elevated to 65. Do all of the staff work here 24/7? Yes. In the snow days, our operators and maintenance people take shifts. We have to ensure that there will always be someone on the post 24/7. Let's move here. It's quieter here. Is this the machine for heat exchange? Yes. The heat introduced from the coking plant will firstly be exchanged over here, and then we will have the level 1 heating process. This is the plate-like exchanger, and one machine has a power of 18 gigawatts. Is it physical process for exchange? Yes, we have such a plate for exchange. On one side is cold water and on the other is hot water. The low temperature water will exchange with the hot temperature water. After the exchange, the temperature will average at about 65 Celsius degrees. It's a physical process. How many plates do you have? We have 4 exchangers.
看这个也挺科学的，像再往里走，还要是什么？有这个咱们的水是不是还要添加呢？还用添加水吗
Do you have to add water in the pipes? Not necessary. It's an enclosed structure. As long as the pressure is kept normal with the pumps, the water dynamics will be normal as well. We don't need to add more water. On this pipe, it says the Series 1 water supply. So there are different water sources from the coking plants. This is Series 1 water supply. It means that this is the hot water supplied to us for heating. It's pretty warm indoors, even though it's very cold outside. Let me take off my glove and touch it. We have an insulation protection here, otherwise it would be hot. You cannot touch it directly. So this water is 65 Celsius degrees, and they flow from the coking plant. Yes. Let's look at this machine. It's about multi-frequency water processor. This machine is to ensure the water structure. After we plug in the power, we will try to guarantee the volume of the recycled water. I see a thermometer here on this water tank. This is the water tank for the condensate water. After heating, it will be turned into steam. What about the plant on the other side? That's the plant of heat pumps. The heat pumps conduct level 2 heating, so the water will be heated up to 80 Celsius degrees from 60. For example, the steam vapor from the coking plant will be introduced here after power generation. To ensure the heating supply, we have lowered down the power generation in order to ensure enough vapor sent to our plant. The heat pumps could reduce the water temperature to about 27 Celsius degrees, and then we add it together with the steam vapor into this pipe. Over here, it says the steam vapor is very hot. You cannot touch it. The vapor is about 180 Celsius degrees. That's why it says high temperature. So it's 180 Celsius degrees of the steam. What about the other big machines? Those are the pumps. It consumes the steam and reduces the water temperature from 30 Celsius degrees to 27. Look at here. Now the water temperature is 34.2, and we can reduce it to 28.3 Celsius degrees when it's going out. And the steam temperature is 181 Celsius degrees.
那这个蒸汽
It's pretty
是
high.
不是咱们厂子里边？你比方说这个，它不是冷却用水吗？是冷却以后产生的蒸汽收过来
So,
的是吧？
what about the steam origin? It's cooled first. Yeah, the steam was purposed for coking
这边也是一
production,
样的吗？
and in the coking process, there will be some steam coming out, and the steam will be sent to us, and we change the steam to be the
因为
condensate
我们这
water,
里就是一
and
个
then
是
they
工
are
业余热
turned
的，就是说
again
冷却
to
水，一
steam.
个是这个工业余
So
热的冷却水，冷却
now
完
I
以后的
learned
蒸汽。
that after cooling process, there will be steam in the plants, and also this water at about 30 Celsius degrees can be further reduced through the heat pumps, and then that low
咱们这
temperature
儿
water
负
can
责
produce
城区
heat
多大面积的
directly.
供热呢？
So, what is the area covered by your heating process in the
700多万
city?
平米是吧？
7
主要是
million
在
square
邢台市东
meters.
部啊，还是怎么？
Which part of the city? Northern part of Xintai, Qiaodong and Qiaoxi
这也算是就是说
districts.
过去可能这些冷却完的水它只能循环，蒸汽也是循环。
Previously,
现在
the
就是说把
cooled
它全
water
部收纳
could
进
only
冰
be
泉，再
recycled, but
为
now
咱
we
们供热，
utilize
再
them
送
again
用线。
for heating
啊，
process.
我看现在就是说咱们这个管道得多长呢？往市区的
What is the length of the
这个管道是
pipeline? In the city, it's about 172 kilometers long.
这就是这个两个机房。这
So
我
those are
看
the
这
two
个外边这个
plants.
几个管子，那个管子是不是进水管子呢？
What's the function of that pipeline? The inlet? That's the pipe for the inlet of the water, and the water temperature is 45 Celsius degrees. The pipeline enables recycling of the water. The water will flow through the exchange stations as well. So over there, that pipeline is for the steam vapor. Yeah, the one in the air is for the vapor. And what about the
在
coolants?
地下吗？
Underground? Yes, the cooled water is underground. But in the air, those
咱
are
们这个
the
就是供
vapor
电这个
pipeline
供暖
connected
这个
with
企业，咱们
those
什么时候成立？
plants. When was this plant established? In 2005, it was put
到现
into
在这
operation
个
in the
厂子已
same
经
year.
运行了8年了，供热8年
So
了，
it's been
9
8 years.
年了。
No, 9.
现在就是这个每年都是非常正常的运转吗？
And it's been in operation successfully every year.
好的，
Yes.
谢谢您。那我们刚才是探访了这个邢台市的这个供热的这个余热的企业，然后对于
So just then we interviewed the heat production plant in Xintai City.
持续关注。
In response to the cold snap, we will stay tuned to the other measures. Dear viewers, welcome back. I am the CMG reporter Wei Haoyan. I am now in Benxi, Liaoning province. I am now in an industrial park. Behind me, that's strawberry greenhouse. It's all covered by the heavy snow. The staff are trying to remove the snow on top of the greenhouse. After several days of heavy snow, the locality has been influenced. As you can see, the snow has just stopped. But look at the depths of the snow. Almost half of my hand is covered by the snow. And local agriculture has been impacted by the snow. And what is the impact over tomatoes and strawberries? We have invited the responsible person for this industrial park to introduce. Hello there. Could you please introduce yourself? Hi, everyone. My name is Li Junhua. I'm responsible for this industrial park. Right now, in Benxi, the lowest temperature this morning was 20 below zero. What is the impact of extreme coldness to the growth of strawberries? Yesterday night, we brought some quilts, and today we started the removal of the snow. Within the greenhouses, the temperature is 2 above zero. With the low temperature, strawberries will grow slower. The production volume will be reduced as well. But of course, strawberry quality will not be undermined. Could you please show us in the greenhouse, of course? On the road, snow is thick. We had 2 days of snowfall in Benxi, and yesterday we have shoveled away all the snow on the road. Now we will enter into one of the greenhouses. Temperature seems to get higher. The snow on the greenhouses have been removed, and the sunlight can enter into the greenhouses. As you can see, the indoor temperature is about 5 to 6 above zero. Usually this should be a warm greenhouse. I've once entered into those greenhouses before. They used to be very warm. Now it's lower than usual. Let's look at the thermometer. This device shows us the temperature inside. It's 4.7 above zero. Since it's not very sunny today, if the sunlight is sufficient, the temperature could be 20 above zero. And how about the strawberries right now? Because of the low temperature, strawberries will not grow. This is the right time for the strawberries to grow the fruits, but it demands a temperature level of about 19 to 20 Celsius degrees in the daytime. But in the past several days, there have been no sunlight and no proper temperature, so the growth will be prolonged. Let's look at some of the strawberries. I could see some red strawberries. They're mature, they're ripe. Under low temperature, for example, what was the lowest temperature this morning? Since the snow started yesterday, we didn't put on the quilts, and we only brought them yesterday night. And at the lowest temperature in the greenhouses, it's about 1.6 Celsius degrees above zero. So the marketing of these strawberries will be prolonged because of the low temperature. It grows slower. So how many days later? I think they will be 10 days late. But if tomorrow the weather gets clear and sunny, we may postpone the marketing of the strawberries by about 2 to 3 days. What about the taste? Taste will be the same. And because of the huge temperature difference in the morning and in the daytime, the sweetness will be higher. And what is the cap of temperature for strawberries and tomatoes. The best temperature range for strawberries to grow is 6 to 8. But if it's 2 to 4, it's okay for the strawberries to grow. It's just that they will grow slower and they will be marketed late. Let me touch the strawberries. It feels cold. If I eat this strawberry directly, it will be very cold. In addition to strawberries, are other fruits grown here? We have grown some blueberries and tomatoes. So economic crops are grown here, yes, mostly fruits. In addition to low temperature, will the humidity change as well in such a weather condition? Humidity will be higher, and with higher humidity, there will be frost. So humidity must be contained. With extreme low temperature, you cannot ventilate the greenhouses. Of course not. We cannot open the door to ventilate, otherwise there will be frost damage to the strawberries. The machine has always been removing the snow. What is the goal? We hope to have good insulation functionality of the quilts on the top. Otherwise, the quilts will grow wet. What's inside this greenhouse? Also strawberry. Only when they remove the snow can they dispose the quilts. They can clean the other greenhouses today. Let's visit the other greenhouses. Also, transport was impacted by the low temperature. It's pretty open space, but there is only one lane accessible for the cars, and some big trucks will not choose to enter. So the depth is pretty big right now after days of snowfall. What is the deepest? Over there, it seems pretty deep, 20 centimeters. What's inside this house? Blueberries. Let's take a look. We have already rolled the quilts after removing the snow, and since the quilts are already rolled and bundled, the sunlight can enter in. It's a cloudy day today, but despite that, the indoor temperature has risen as well. Greenhouses rely on the sunlight. Of course, the room temperature is 6 right now. Is this autonomous? Yeah, it's autonomous system. We have the temperature control probe here. If it's a very sunny day, at about 9:30, the sunlight will enter and the room temperature would be 30, and we will start the ventilation. When the temperature reaches 28, we will close the openings. Are the blueberries ripe yet? Not yet. They're just about to flower. In 2 other greenhouses, blueberries already flower. So be it strawberries and blueberries, this is the time of growth. Yes, correct. But now, sunlight and low temperature are influencing their growth. If temperature is proper, it will flower. For example, for this flower, it will start to open at about 2 p.m. But now the sunlights are not sufficient. That's the problem.
它草莓和蓝莓它的生长周期会延长。那比如说交通这块呢？
交通这块呢也受一定影响。现在你就是说，包括呀，我们这主要以采摘为主。采摘为主呢，这个呢交通呢不方便，一些呢那个游客啊、采摘的客户啊不愿意往这来。包括
And visitors are not willing to visit in such low temperature.
就是说现在这天气不好，也不愿意往这来。
刚才我们来一下，实际上
Because of the bad weather.
弯道是比较滑的，是吧？
对对对。
When we drove here, we drove on the
草莓和蓝莓，就这个阶段，比如说这两天
road
往外送吗？使用
on the mountains.
大车还是小车？
It's poor transportation. So I still see some. Are there any trucks trying to transport your strawberries? No, not in recent days. We have to consider the safety level. If we do want to send out our strawberries for sale, we have to use some safe trucks. For example, with the
需求量也小，
functionality of anti-slip.
人们也不会出来逛街。
And people are not willing to shop, to buy in such weather conditions. So in recent days, our sales volume have been reduced. What is the overall functionality of this greenhouse? For example, the architecture structure. We have the steel structure,
一层这个呢白毡子，
and
然后呢3层
we use one sheet
2层塑料，
of plastic
那个最后
bags.
是一层毡子。然后我们前边呢是一层塑料，一层棉被。
In the front, we have another layer of quilt and one layer of plastic. This is the wall. If you touch it,
如果不是这种天气呢，我们的棚子温度呢是一般时候呢，像零下20多度的时候，
usually
温度到早上头的时候，
when the outdoor is 20 below zero and the indoor would be about 6 above zero. From the structure of the greenhouse, they really fend off the coldness. But since it's snowing in recent days, there is no sunlight in the daytime. We have to introduce some contingency plans. We have to procure some specific equipment. For example, there are some cannons to provide warmth indoors. Greenhouse seems to be warm. The temperature is 5 to 6 and it's still shooting up. It's getting clearer now. The sun is coming out, but the snow is still falling down. The weather forecast said that today we'll have some snowfalls. What about this greenhouse? Blueberries are grown inside.
这个也是著名蓝莓。你看看现在看看它这个温度。
Let's look at the thermometer.
这个整个种的是蓝莓。
So blueberries are grown here, correct. What is the room temperature?
这个呢现在2.3度。
2.3 above zero, so 2.
它有草莓耐寒吗？
And can blueberries fend off the coldness? The temperature has to be at least 6, above 6, in order for the blueberries to flower and bear fruits. Let's look at the rooftop. The quilts are still covering the greenhouses. That's for the heat insulation. And could you introduce more about the quilts? We have 2 layers of the black sheets in the quilts. And we have the camel's hair stuffed inside. And also the space cotton. Now let's look from the outside to see how the quilts can fend off the extreme coldness. Will the blueberries still grow when the temperature is only 2? I don't think so if it lasts for long. But we have introduced some measures to ensure the temperature. Now let's look at the quilts.
这几天下的雪还是非常的深。
Very deep snow outdoors. So here it is. These are the quilts. So one sheet of black cloth, and that's camel's hair in between. And on top of the quilt, we have another layer of black cloth and also another layer of plastics. What's the role of the plastic layer? Just to resist the strong wind. It's right below the quilts. And on top of the plastic layer, we have the quilts and the black cloth. Usually during the days of the cold snap, what are the local requirements from the authority? In such extreme weather conditions, the local governments, including the meteorological stations, would ask the agriculture performers to be fully prepared. I heard that to stay here in those days to protect the greenhouses. Yes, I have to observe the snow situation. If it's small snow, we will roll over the quilts. And when the snow gets heavier, we will have to spread them out. And yesterday was so cold. Even with heavy snow, we didn't roll it over just in case that the fruits inside will be frozen and will not flower. So we use some specific equipment. The snow is rolling down from the top to the two sides. Yes, because yesterday during the day night, we rolled the quilts and the snow rolled down from the top of the roof to the two edges. According to your estimates, when do you think will the snow fall end? And for the fruits grown in these greenhouses, when will the impact be ended? I have to follow closely the weather forecast, and according to the weather forecast, this round of cold snap will end after 7 days. But during the 7 days time, strawberries, blueberries, and the tomatoes will not flower. And their marketing will have to be postponed after 10 days. It's the same thing for strawberries and blueberries, 10 days later than before. And the year-round production will be influenced by this cold snap season as well. Usually, if we have a truck for transportation, they enter through that direction. Yes. Yesterday, the road was cleared, but yesterday night, the snow restarted, and the depth was about 10 centimeters of the snow. It stops after 1 day of snowing, and then the snow restarted. In the first day, during the night, the snow depth was around 10 centimeters, and it's the same thing in the last 2 nights. This is the membrane. Yes. And I could feel the ice. Is this ice going to be problematic? When I touch it, I can feel the snow and ice inside the membrane. When we rolled the quilts, it freezes. What about the snow by the corner of the greenhouses? Will I have to dispose them? Of course. But it's too problematic right now. It's trouble making. And what's the role of this corner? We hope to roll down the quilts to the bottom. We also have some devices to raise the temperature. We have done some experiments and they worked. So the devices already arrived. Yes, one of them arrived this morning. Just like this, to increase the temperature. And this machine is working in the strawberry greenhouse. We just bought it. You just plug in the power, it burns diesel. We put two devices in one greenhouse, and it helps to increase the temperature by 3 to 5 Celsius degrees. And that's enough. So you don't need very high temperature. We just hope that the temperature in the nighttime would be above 6. Strawberries seem to grow better in this greenhouse. There seems to be sufficient sunlight in this greenhouse. Yes, and the fruits are bigger in size. Just look. And what's the temperature right now? Okay. So the measures here are, for example, quilts to protect the worms inside, procure some devices to increase the room temperature, and some are power driven, some are burning diesels, and tomatoes, strawberries, and blueberries must be protected from the frost. During these days, we have interviewed some people and we learned that the local government have sent agriculture technicians to the sites. They had field visits to help the local people so that, for one thing, they could have an estimate of the weather conditions and raise the awareness of the local farmers to be fully prepared. For example, how to handle the quilts instantly. And for agriculture business, there should be some technicians to be stationed just in case that the strong wind and heavy snow will cause damage to the greenhouses. In addition, local governments took other measures, for example, procuring some equipment in advance to increase the room temperature. In Benxi City, we learned that they have already procured the equipment, and some of the equipment are already on the way to the farmers' houses. As to the payment, they can pay later. They can directly use the agriculture equipment first so as to minimize the damage on the agriculture. So, dear viewers, that's the situation in Benxi. Thank you.